Happy Monday, 8th graders. Welcome back. Today is a very important day for you because you have exactly 24 hours before your speeches begin. This is your first speech. Don't get too nervous. We'll have a laid-back atmosphere. Remember that you will be assessed on your speaking abilities and also your listening abilities. So you'll have a chance over the next 3 days of speeches in class to begin working toward a good grade. Today what I want to talk to you about are some of the things that you can do to hopefully have a successful speech. There is one assignment as well that I will be giving you that you can work on. I'll leave it up to you as to when you want to work on this during today's class period. If you want to do it right away at the beginning and then work on some other things, that's fine. If you're feeling a little nervous about your speech and you feel like, man, there's a lot I have to do between now and tomorrow, maybe you want to put that off a little bit later. But that's something that is there in case you finish early or in case you don't feel like you have anything to work on, because we do want to be productive. We have finished our capitalization grammar unit, and now we are going to be moving on to commas. So on No Red Ink, there is comma assignment number 1. It's 15 questions long. Looks at some of the comma basics. As I was reading over your Me Speech papers, your personal narrative papers, commas are definitely something that some of us need some work on. So that'll be a good assignment for you. But most importantly, speeches do begin tomorrow. Your order is down below here for each one of the periods. So just take a look at that, make sure you're on the same page, and make sure you are ready to go the day that you're going. Number 1, big reminder that I want to give you. Do not forget your materials. Take time tonight or tomorrow night or Wednesday night at the latest to gather your materials, the things that you want to use. Remember, you should have roughly 6, 7, 8, or 9 objects, maybe 2 to 3 per body paragraph that you are going to bring in and hold up as you're giving your Me speech. Don't forget those. It's hard to give the Me speech without them, but keep in mind that if you do not bring those, if you happen to forget, you still will give the speech that day minus your materials. So forgetting your materials is not a pass out of giving the speech. You still will have to give it, and it'll be a little bit harder for you because you won't have those visual objects, but you'll do it anyway. The next thing I'd like to remind you of is to practice today and tonight with your timing. Remember, 3 minutes is the magic number that you want to get to. That's the minimum. So practice, and you'll be able to for sure go over that 3-minute mark. If you tell a story, if you describe, you'll have no problem getting there. If you just fly through your objects, though, chances are you will be short of that 3-minute time period. If you are gone the day that you are scheduled to give your speech, we don't want you coming to school sick, something like that, but if you're gone, the next time you are in composition class, you will go to the top of the list. So for instance, if you're scheduled to go number 1 tomorrow and you're sick tomorrow, you'll go number 1 on Wednesday if you happen to come back to school on Wednesday, or maybe you miss a second day if you're really sick and then you come back on Thursday, you'd go first on Thursday. So we would like to remind you, if you happen to be gone or something is going on and you can't meet the requirement of the day that you're giving the speech, that you'll give it the first day you are back. So make sure you're aware of that and prepare accordingly. Finally, the last thing I want to talk to you about today is the rubric. Nothing that we haven't talked about is on the rubric, but I'd just like you to go look at it, look at the different levels of what an A looks like, what a B looks like, C and D look like as well. Pay specific attention to some of the wording, pay specific attention to some of the things we've been looking for. As far as nonverbals go, we've talked specifically about hand gestures, so think about how you can use some of those. Talk specifically about movement, so think about how you can use some of those. And we've talked specifically about eye contact. So those are 3 of the nonverbals that I'll be looking at in particular attention during this speech. So play around with those. Today, during the first part of class, you all have your note card. The lined side is the side where you should have had that filled out. You can be adding to it. There are some extras on my desk if you want to grab an extra note card if you happen to have lost yours. But prepare, plan with your note card. During the first part of class, I'd like you working quietly, silently at your desk, working to make sure that you know exactly what you are going to be doing. Then, once everybody's had a chance to work individually on their own, then what I'd like you to do is break up into some groups where you're with people who you're comfortable with, and that'll be with roughly 20 minutes left or so in class. And I'd like you to work on specifically that intro, work on your body paragraphs, and give the people in your group a chance to say their speech from beginning to end. So, if you're in a group of 4 people, which is probably the optimal group size, but if you're in a group of 4 people, that would be, roughly 16 minutes that it would take you to get through everyone giving the speech in real time. And I'd like you to practice it in a small setting, not in front of the whole class, but in a small setting, and see how long it takes you. It is fine if one of you wants to take out a phone for timing purposes and put the timer on them, see when they go, and see when they're ending. Hopefully they're over that 3-minute mark. 4 minutes, 5 minutes, that's a good goal to shoot for, so that you don't have 1 second thing that causes you to be below 3 minutes. We're asking you to go over 3, so do your best to hit that mark. I would encourage you highly to practice it tonight too, in front of a parent or a sibling. Practice it in front of a mirror on your own a little bit. The more you do that, the less nervous you will be when the real thing occurs. And then the final thing I'll remind you of is that, like we said, you're being graded on your listening as well. So make sure when you come to class tomorrow that you are 100% ready to be focused on your classmates and not to be a distraction to them, because if you are, then that would negatively impact your grade. So we don't want to have that happen. So number 1, no red ink. That's something you can be working on. Number 2, working individually on your speech. And then finally, number 3, with about 20 minutes left in class, you can get into some small groups and work with partners and see how it sounds out loud. Okay? So wish you good luck. I can't wait to see your speeches starting tomorrow.